Let me begin with you again. Senyo, do you think that it was a mistake to have stopped the toll collection at the booths? Because it does appear there is some bit of regret about that. Before you talk about the rationalization that is necessary.
Okay. I used to sit on the Ghana Highways Authority board. I'm the PEF nominee on the board, and I've still been re-nominated. And I also used to chair the finance committee of the Ghana Highways Authority. I have always maintained that the tolls, I think, were an immoral bill because of the road levy that we charge the users of our roads through the fuel prices. We didn't have a very significant road levy in the petroleum price buildup. But as part of the energy sector levies rationalization process, which led to ESLA, we actually increased the road fund from something that was less than a peso or so, or just about a peso or so, to 41 pesos. Today, we are raking in over 2 billion. Why do we keep tolls after that? I don't see the wisdom in doing that. I don't think it's fair to the citizens, it's fair to users of the road. If you're making them pay for the maintenance of the road through fuel prices, and you're not taking small money, but you're taking huge money, billions of cedis through that, you shouldn't be chasing 75 billion cedis, creating a lot of social nuisance in the form of traffic at road tolls. See what we had in Kaswa. I found that totally immoral.
Kwame Agbodja suggests that the road tolls, at least, if you gathered that, you could use that to take care of NAPCO, for example, so that we will not be talking about NAPCO being in arrears. The volunteers are not being paid.
And then I don't think we should be worried about e-levy. I think we should even increase e-levy to maybe 4 or 5%, if that is it, because there are 1,001 reasons why you can keep taxing people. But when you're taxing people, it should be fair, it should be reasonable. When we're paying road tolls, we didn't really have road fund levy. When the levy came in, it came as a very small, insignificant levy. Now we move it into the billions. When you start moving it into the billions, then you're telling people, you know what? We have evened out this process. Pay for the maintenance of the road through your consumption of fuel, but you don't ask them to start creating all kinds of social and economic.
Let's hear you on the solution.
1 minute. Look at the loss of productive time at a toll booth like the Kaswa toll booth. Look at the loss of productive time at Tema. And question, with all the tolls that we're collecting, were we directly spending on those roads that we're collecting the roads on? Absolutely no. The Tema motorway will not be what it was before we stopped collecting
the finance minister says they were so sure that immediately this was removed, they were going to get the the e-levy in. You know, unfortunately, they miscalculated. And this is hurting the economy.
Samson,
I want you to talk about the
moment you started collecting 41 pesos from the people through fuel, the moment you stopped collecting less than 100 billion cedis in levies and in road levies through fuel and started collecting billions. Last year, I think we did about 2 billion thereabout. I don't think that it's something that should have been dependent on.
You wanted to talk about the solution being the rationalization of the taxes on fuel.
Yes, and I may be a broken record on this, so I may not go too much because you have a lot of my position on that particular thing. But there are a number of things that could be just done now. We have to look at the taxes. There are certain margins and reduce a few of them. I've discussed the bust margin, but we may possibly have to create a balance in there. I've also discussed our road transportation margins that can be looked at. On the tax side, I mean, we have issues like sanitation. Why do we not move to a polluter pay system and stop charging everybody who may not really be polluting as much? I've indicated also that the energy debt recovery levy is something you cannot touch. But the energy sector levies, what steps are we taking to make sure we don't continue creating debt? These are major policy questions that we'll have to ask. And I must note that following engagement with the central bank has been very, very supportive in the last week, releasing efforts to make sure we can help reduce the impact of the FX depreciation on the petroleum sector. I think we've discussed that before, and I really want to commend the governor, his first deputy, and then the Treasury unit headed by Steve Opata for the support that they've given us, and also thank Mustafa Hamid. Other than that, petroleum prices would possibly have been maybe another 5% higher than you currently see on the market today. And we are hoping that we can collaborate more to create a lot more efficiency around that. But there are a few things that can be done on that side. The other base that we must start, while petroleum prices on the crude side is going up, government is also increasing its revenue on the upstream side. So why don't you have a nice clearinghouse where the income, the surplus income we are actually making from the upstream side comes into a nice pool with the estimates that we realize over a period. We also now reduce our downstream petroleum taxes by almost the same. So it can cushion the burden that we're actually having on consumers as we speak. It's something that must be done. When government introduced the special petroleum tax, the reason why it brought it was that petroleum prices on the upstream side had dropped significantly. And government had a major hole in there. So it needed the downstream people, as in the truck drivers, yourself, myself, to show up our taxes in petroleum so that it can compensate for the provisions he had made on the upstream side. Now we have a boom on the upstream side. Why don't we have the upstream side also cushion us, the consumers, on the downstream side? This is a major policy thing that government must reasonably consider and create a nice balance between the two. But you know, the kitchen is hot, so any opportunity to rake in more income will be chased.